brief, we want to do brief introductions of each participant who's here, because that's a really important part of the peer learning network, is that we're meeting each other and making contacts. So it's not just the speaker down, it's the peers are connecting. So we encourage people to put your contact information in the chat and make connections with each other. After introductions, Vance will give a quick overview of our panel today and the various things they're bringing. Then we'll have each panel member give a short presentation and overview of their programs. And I think we're going to save questions and answers till the end of the panel. Is that right, Vance?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we'll do Q&A after all the panel members have had a chance to give an overview. And we think that's often the best time where the best information comes out is in our discussions and questions. So we want to know what people are interested in and struggling with. And after that, we'll just close with some reminders about upcoming meetings and grant deadlines, which I've included in the agenda. I put the agenda for today's meeting in there, and we have several grant programs with the U.S. Forest Service with deadlines coming up in December. And the Forest Business Alliance is here to help folks in those applications. Let me do just a brief overview of the Forest Business Alliance. We're here to support primarily the CAL FIRE's Wood Products and Bioenergy Grant Program, but we also support groups applying to other grant programs like the U.S. Forest Service, various of their grant programs. We have a lot of templates on the website. We have a lot of recordings relevant to developing proposals, to budgeting, all sorts of really good resources to help people do the best proposal they can. And we also provide one-on-one kind of coaching if you need any in terms of how, preparing your proposals to hopefully get the best chance of approval. Yeah, our peer learning network, I mentioned that's kind of the other big thing we do other than the individual support for proposals. Today, this is the second in a series of the peer learning network on workforce development. We had a meeting, last month's meeting was with Justin Britton at CAL FIRE, speaking about some of their workforce insights. Today, we have a panel of folks working in workforce development. And then next month, we have a panel of industry folks, and they're going to talk about their workforce successes, failures, struggles, high points, low points, etc. That'll be next on December 17th at noon again by Zoom. So we'll hope to see you all there. And I think that's pretty good. Let's just move into introductions now. So we really encourage people to make yourself known, your organization, and the kinds of things you're working on and the kinds of areas where you are looking for support, because sometimes folks know where others can get help with different things. So I'll start off. I'm here in Portland. I work as a consultant with the Forest Business Alliance. I worked with a federal government grant-making program for 17 years. And so that's my support, is knowing how to prepare these proposals. And also I work to support the peer learning network. All right, I think unless there's any questions, we're going to try to get done by 1:30. And I don't know if there's any questions about the agenda. If there are no questions, let's who wants to jump in and introduce themselves, and we'll go from there. Who wants to go next?
I can start us off. So my name is Ashley Matthews. I am a senior project manager for the Fresno Regional Workforce Development Board, and I oversee the Greater Sierra Forestry Corps.
I guess I can follow that up. I'm Jerry Irvin. I'm the Regional Outreach Coordinator, and I also oversee Greater Sierra Forestry Corps.
Thank you. Who's next?
I can go next. Hi, everybody. I'm Courtney Cagle. I'm with the California Resilient Careers in Forestry program.
I can hop in. I'm Molly Bartlett. I'm actually the managing director of Resilience Force, but here today representing our for-profit subsidiary Resilience Works.
Yes, I'm Chuck Detherow. I'm a staff RPF for the Western Shasta Resource Conservation District up here in Anderson, California, next to Redding, Lake Shasta. I'm also a TSP for NRCS. I work on fuel reduction projects, and forest management plans right now is my target for small landowners. So it's trying to keep apprised of what's going on, where to send the product. Right now, there's not a lot of options, and again, operators for small landowners on small projects. That's another one. So we have several CFIP and EQIP funded projects going on there, but there's going to be more, and then somewhere to put the logs and the chips. So that's what I do.
Or to put the logs and the chips.
I'll follow that. My name's Nina. I'm also in the Redding area, work for my home office. I work as a regional business development specialist for California Business Investment Services within GoBiz. Essentially, I cover 14 northernmost counties in the state, interacting directly with businesses, helping them navigate state incentive programs and connecting them with agencies that might be able to help them with their projects. And I'm here to listen in, help where I can, and then also just get an understanding of workforce challenges and opportunities in this space. Thank you.
I guess I'll go. I'm Haley Coopergard. I work for the Nevada County Resource Conservation District, and my mentor Joanne Feitz recommended I hop in on this webinar so I can learn a little bit more, potentially with grant writing.
Who hasn't gone? Everybody?
I guess I'm last. You can hear me. I'm
Yep.
Rick Napolis. I'm a member of the Bishop Paiute tribe. I also retired from the Inyo National Forest after 36 years in wildland fire. Currently working on where we're going to be some projects along Eastern Sierra, around Mammoth, in that area, and just trying to get some more knowledge about where you guys' resources are. Thank you.
Tom, did you introduce?
Hi, Tom Maseko. I'm out of Chicago. I'm a reformed private equity executive and chief financial officer in the consumer world. I've been spending my time over the last couple of years consulting with and working with not-for-profit and environmentally focused businesses to help put together business plans and financing plans for sustained success. So happy to be here and learn more about the resources and the needs that are out there.
Thank you. Excellent. All right, but before Vance goes to introduce our panel, I wanted to mention we're recording this meeting. I hope that's okay with everybody. And that's a nice part of our website is we have all these peer learning network meetings recorded, and we find that a lot of folks can't make the actual meeting, but they go back and watch the recording and pick up all the good information that gets shared. All right, Vance.
Go ahead, Joel. Yeah, Joel White. I am a licensed timber operator. We also contract to CAL FIRE in their hired equipment program. Recently, or a few years ago, bought a soil production facility to try and have a place to put our fuels reduction biomass. Also interested in this one in particular for the workforce development. Trying to make the link there for our operators or the staff that we've got that don't have in forest operating skills, and I think we could take some people with not many skills and get them into the forest and get them into a better lifelong career.
Well, I think we have Michael Becker. Just James, are you there, Mike? Yeah, we're doing introductions. Just your name and where you work and what you're looking for help with, or what you're offering.
Oh, and I'm up.
Yeah, you're up.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy almost Thanksgiving. I'm Mike Becker. Collectron Energy is my company, and we're engaged with Forest Business Alliance and the Greater Powers of Good to help out with ecosystem restoration project ongoing initiatives being led by the Forest Service and CAL FIRE and other regional players, local, state, and agencies. So, yeah, we're on these calls to continue gathering information and wisdom and knowledge to be able to fully deploy a biomass to energy facility in the Region 5 area. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you. How about Taylor?
Hey, yeah, sorry for joining late. My name is Taylor. I'm Forestry Program Director for the Sierra Nevada Alliance. I also teach at Cal State University Long Beach, and that's why I joined a little late, because I was finishing up my class, and I'm still in my classroom right now. If somebody joins in, I might have to run to my office, but yeah, happy to be here. Happy to talk about our work. I run a workforce development program for forest health professionals, training early career, not entry career, but early career folks, how to be good project managers in the forest health world. And excited to see a couple faces around here that I either have known, met, or some that I've heard about. So I'm really excited to be joining today. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. And I think Royal, are you the last holdout?
Yeah, my name is Royal Ramey. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program. Did you hear that? Okay.
All right, excellent. Did we get everyone? All right. Here's Vance gonna make our.
Should I take over?
Yes, you're on now.
All right, thanks for joining us, everybody, and really appreciate all the panelists taking your time to join us today too. There's actually a lot of people that couldn't make it today because they're at I think it's UC Davis Biomass Symposium, so the recording will be really valuable to share with folks after today. But we'll have a lively discussion regardless. So here's who we got up on the for speaking, for giving intros. Royal's going to start out, followed by Molly, then Ashley and Jerry, followed by Courtney, and then Taylor is going to go last. Taylor, I put you last just because I wanted to make sure you made it back from Long Beach or back from your classroom to join us. So everybody's going to give about 5-minute intro on what they're doing, what their focus is in workforce, maybe some challenges and lessons learned, and then we'll follow that with questions. And we, as Jim mentioned, this is a 3-part series that we started with CAL FIRE, with Justin Britton talking about the Business and Workforce Development Program support for these types of projects, and then we're going with folks that are implementing today. And then the third part that you're all welcome to join in December is going to be industry focused and how they've been approaching training and building capacity for workforce with with the challenges related to that. So without any more delay, I'm gonna hand it over to Royal. And would it help if I made this, if I did slideshow? That'd be better. Can you guys see that okay? Is it showing up as a slideshow?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Oh, not a slideshow. No.
Yeah, can you push the slideshow?
I just did. It's not showing up as slideshow?
No.
Let's see. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Well, I guess we'll leave it like this. Can everybody see that okay? Is it big? Cool. Okay, Royal, welcome, and it's really awesome to have you here. We've talked a lot over the past couple of years, but just really impressive what your organization is doing. And with that, I'll hand it over to you to describe that more and talk about FFRP.
Yes, I appreciate it. So thanks for having me today. So my name is Royal Ramey, co-founder, CEO of the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program, also known as FFRP. We are a nonprofit organization that really focus on transitioning folks that's from the marginalized community, transition to the fire service professionally. We've been around since 2018. How I got my start was, I actually was in prison for 4 years, 8 months. In the latter time of my sentence, I actually had the opportunity to go to fire camp. And I actually fell in love with it. I wanted to pursue it as a career, but it was no true pathway from A to Z to be able to obtain a job in the forestry or fire sector. So I made it my business and the commitment to be able to be like the Harriet Tubman of the fire service and being able to bring folks back once I got to the door, right? Since then, we helped over 200 people get jobs in the fire service, including CAL FIRE, the Forest Service, private contract agencies throughout the nation, actually. So we have a couple of programs. So we have what is called a career training program, where it's the 8 to 12 week community-based cohort model. One is in San Bernardino and another one is in the Bay Area, which is located in Oakland. So with that, the difference between those two is really like having the opportunity to do more fuel reduction projects in those areas with our participants, and possibly even going on fires. I have a contract partnership with a contract crew out of Oregon called ASI. So we do take out some of our participants to get that paid on the job training to go out there and fight wildland fires. It's pretty, we target about 25 people in each module. So so the first module was a 12-week from July to October. And then right now we're currently in Oakland from October to December. We graduate them on December 11th, and then it goes back to San Bernardino, and then back to our 8-week, and then back to Oakland in 12 weeks. So the basis of the program is basically, the in-class training where they get their NWCG certifications for entry-level position with the Forest Service and CAL FIRE. So that includes the Basic 32. It includes Hazmat Fro, Confined Space Awareness, PSFA, which is Public Safety First Aid. And then if we have an opportunity to get on the field to be able to get their S212, we also provide that certification as well, because I know it's a lot of brush thinning, out there when it comes to a lot of fee for service work that we do. And then another portion is actually going out, identifying projects. I have partnerships with, I have a grant from CAL FIRE, $3.7 million grant, started in 2022, ends in 2026, August of 2026. And in the latter half of the program, we focus on trying to do fire prevention work. So kind of like the fee for service piece right here, where you see weed abatement, brush clearing, hazardous tree removal, wood chipping, all those different type of services we provide during that time. They also get a $560 stipend, so it is pretty much tuition free kind of career training program. Also, we have a program that's in that we collaborate with multiple different CBOs and also with LA County. So we have ARC, Amity Foundation, ourselves, and then LA County Fire. And it's pretty much a 12-month program. The participants receive wildland certifications all the way from basic 32 to S290, S270, S215, like all the pretty much certs to be able to give them that training. And then we pretty much pass them over to LA County Fire, which they get their state fire marshal training, firefighter 1A, 1B, and 1C, so they can be able to easily transition into Cal Fire on a hand crew or they're on an engine. And then, we have mentorships. So ARC does a lot of mentorshiping. They do the supervision overnight. It's a Monday to Thursday, and all programs are Monday to Thursday. 8-hour days pretty much, and that's that pretty much piece. So when it comes to like the supportive, wraparound services, because knowing that it's a lot of folks that have trauma, in their life, and they got some things that they gotta figure out. We have partnered up with Los Angeles Aid, and they pretty much helps with the expungement piece. I don't know if anybody heard about AB 2147, which allows folks that's been incarcerated in California conservation camps get their record expunged. So we kind of been leading that piece. I think it's about like 60 people we have been successfully got their record expunged. It's about 150 still pending, depending on the county and where that's at. So it can be able to open up more doors for folks when it comes to the record. Obviously working with the Forest Service and Cal Fire is a little bit more, easier to get jobs through there. But like my biggest goal and objective is to get folks into the municipal fire departments if that's possible, right? Depending on the individual's goals and what they set for themselves. So fee for service, we really, since Prop 4 passed, right, we see an opportunity for a lot of work to get done through our organization. And one of the challenges that we have is that based off of the rotation of our program, we know that some folks might not get jobs immediately. So what I'm in the process of doing is creating a fire prevention training program where once they finish our career training program, because it's like an 8-week or 12-week, transitioning to folks to have like a 10 to 20 person crew where we could go out and just dedicate that strictly to fire prevention work, right? And then another challenge that I noticed is pretty much is a funding for us. Like we 75% of our budget is public sector grants or contracts with LA County and with Cal Fire. And then it's kind of hard sometimes when, you get this big contract, but they like, you need to be able to upfront the cost, right? I got a $3.7 million grant from Cal Fire. I got a $6 million grant from our contract with LA County, but, I have to come up with the startup costs with that. And then sometimes that could be a challenge. And then cash flow issues when it comes to our organization. But we kind of like mitigate that with, okay, perfect. Mitigate that with, philanthropy, obviously work, and trying to get a little bit more into that. And then also, reaching out to folks, VCs. We trying to figure out a way to be able to streamline this fire prevention and fire suppression services and being able to like figure that out. Cause I know like it's 4 things that's major when it comes to being able to build a business, right? Because some people would say that nonprofits are not, but they really are, right? Because you got to keep that money flow going and being able to make it happen. So it's, obviously you need the contracts, which I think that is just it's a wealth of a lot of, contracts out there for us to get. Funding, obviously you need funding, you need personnel, which we have, and then it's like equipment. So if you have those 4 things, you can be able to really like scale this thing to the next level. And I think one of the challenges is if we had more funding to invest in this fire prevention training program, then we can be able to make it happen. Also, just dropped the TED on the 12th. I'm a part of the TED Fellowship, so I'm gonna send the link. We've been doing some great things in California, and we'd love for your support. And if y'all need any like work done, let's have a conversation. Because we got, folks that's serious about the craft and want to be public servants and being able to be contributors to their community and others.
Thanks, Royal. Really inspirational work you're doing, and also incredibly needed. I'm going to share a link with you on a book. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but on conservation finance, I'm one of the authors, but it's kind of directed at providing that upfront funding that's not just grant funding for nonprofits. And I'm happy to share that with everybody if you want to see it. Next, we are going to go to Molly. Molly's, as she mentioned, the managing director for Resilience Force. We've been working with Molly's counterpart, Josh Cox, since almost the beginning of Forest Business Alliance. We helped with a proposal they put together to CAL FIRE that they got funded. And they're doing some amazing work all over the country, but in the forest sector in California, largely in the Bay Area, training agricultural workers to be workers also part-time in the forest sector. So Molly's going to go it alone with no slides, so that's why it's blank. It's not a mistake, but I'm going to hand it over to you, Molly, to explain that project and some of the work that you're doing in that realm.
Yeah, thanks so much. And it's been a little busy as you mentioned. Our sort of primary point of contact for this coalition is Josh Cox, who manages Resilience Works. I am the managing director of Resilience Force, which is its nonprofit parent. And so we'll sort of request your grace as I stumble through some of this, and just appreciate your patience. But I just thought a little bit, it might be helpful to take a tiny step back and share a little bit about Resilience Force, which I think with the intent of setting up some context for why we created Resilience Works as a mechanism for the work that it's doing now in California. So Resilience Force is a nonprofit that was born out of post-Katrina New Orleans. I'm actually based in New Orleans. And we found, in every subsequent storm that followed since Katrina, that the work and rebuilding and recovery was largely carried out by migrant workers. And so as, climate change made disasters more frequent and more destructive, we started following the same workers from storm to storm to storm, protecting them from wage theft and abuse at the hands of predatory staffing and disaster restoration companies. So we worked to create recognition for this workforce that people claimed was invisible, but was always there. People just weren't looking. So working to create recognition for the workforce, create protections for them, advocate for them, organize and protect them. Kind of also notice that over the years, there were fewer and fewer sort of mom and pop companies. They were often being bought out by private equity. These huge firms sort of entered the restoration industry, bought out big companies, and then, really drove down worker conditions and protections that were sort of nascent to begin with. So we started building a high road disaster restoration industry. We built high road agreements with different companies that are national companies, and attached labor standards to around $385 million of disaster restoration contracts. And so now we're in this phase where we're going beyond sort of advocating and organizing, protecting mistreated workers, and trying to build up a workforce that both prevents, and tries to create resilient, both built and natural infrastructure in advance of storms, floods, fires, and also the workforce that would help rebuild following those types of disasters. And so with the demand for skilled resilience work increasing, we thought that it would be a really important time to start to build a workforce development arm to train workers. And then in order to place them with high road employment, we built our own social enterprise called Resilience Works, which that's the entity that you often engage with here. And so Resilience Works sort of functions as a brokerage to connect workers that meets the need with you know, the employees or the employers that need them. So hopefully that's a little bit of helpful context. And then, you know, kind of as we operate in California right now, we have vegetation management contracts, mostly, of course, from the state of California through CAL FIRE, land stewardship organizations and nonprofits, RCDs, sort of, you know, provide the avenues for these vegetation management grants. And then we have a deep partnership with North Bay Jobs with Justice, where we our sort of employee recruitment model and engagement model is slightly different. So we're transitioning workers that Jobs with Justice is organized from their just being sort of members of their member base into resilience workers and then deploying them into contracts and vegetation management. So we also offer paid training, which is sort of conducted through various nonprofits, from everything from Jobs with Justice to Resilience Force to Terra, Watershed Center, Santa Rosa Junior College, and other entities to sort of perform vegetation management work across Sonoma County. So they're doing everything from like forest management and land management, gully stuffing to defensible space contracts. And like I said, the workers are primarily underemployed farm workers, mostly Latino and specifically Indigenous Oaxacan workers, whose livelihood is increasingly precarious because climate change is shrinking the wine industry. And so that's kind of our model in a very brief summary. And then just to kind of run through some quick successes. One is that we've grown really quickly in 2 years. We have multiple cohorts that are trained and being deployed as workers and earning revenue. Of course, a huge success is that the land is getting, you know, the treatment that it deserves, and we're happy to be a part of that. And then some challenges, like Rael said, the reimbursement process as a nonprofit or as a small, you know, sort of budding social enterprise is really difficult to manage, and to have enough capital on hand to manage the cash flow issues while we await sort of very long reimbursement processes. We're also grappling on the for-profit side, we're grappling with the kind of investment that's best to try and support that growth. Being an organization that's really focused on worker conditions, we're trying to think about the best way to maintain control over the way workers are treated and engaged with. And so things like, you know, for example, an equity investment, like we don't want someone to come in and sort of make one of the conditions of profit undercutting what we provide to workers. And so there's just like some challenges there. You know, finding consistently enough projects to sort of to keep workers engaged and employed at dignified wages, you know, 9 to 5, 365 days a year, or not really 365, but year round. And to keep the pipeline of projects to workers we have trained sort of consistent and in balance are some of the challenges that we're kind of working through. But yeah, I mean, so far it's been really incredible. We're really grateful for this capacity and this crew to kind of talk through it with and to continue to build with. So thank you so much for letting me stumble through my speech here, and looking forward to hopefully continuing to build our relationships.
Thanks, Molly. Yeah, let's hope you can continue to expand that work as well. It's really, really needed. I actually worked in Oaxaca for my master's work, so another impact of climate change too on those folks that are living here. So next we are going to go over to Ashley and Jerry from the Greater Sierra Forestry Corps. Lauren Nickel, who was in a workshop from the Fresno EDC, introduced us to Ashley and Jerry. So we're really pleased to have them here. And I'm going to hand it over. I'm not sure who's going to start, but to one of you, and to explain your program and what you're doing, especially in the southern San Joaquin, southern Sierra area. But I know you also work in other places.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Vance. We're really excited as well. We're really glad that Lauren was able to make this connection, and thank you guys for inviting us in to attend. We're really excited to partner and to learn from you guys as well. So I'll go ahead and I'll kick it off. As Vance mentioned, my name is Ashley Matthews. I'm the Senior Manager over Special Projects for the Fresno Regional Workforce Development Board. If you are not too familiar with workforce development boards, our funding is nested in the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. Excuse me. And we're allocated that budget by per county. So there's a lot of different factors that go into that, but that's our base funding. This program itself, the Greater Sierra Forestry Corps, we actually piloted it through a workforce innovation grant that we got from the state of California back in 2020. And that's really how we got started, and we were kicked off. Since then, we've gotten 2 CAL FIRE grants, 1 Healthy Forest and 1 under Workforce Development. And then we've also been funded through the High Road Training Partnership through the state as well. So all that to say, we do a lot of braiding when it comes to funding and grant management, and that's how we're able to keep the Corps going. It was obviously, most of you know that the Central Valley has been incredibly impacted by wildfires, especially over the last 4 years. And so, once we identified the need for that, and we identified the need for more fuels management technicians and things like that, it's really where this project got born out of. I told my boss in 2020, I remember there were days I couldn't leave my house because the smoke was so thick. And, my son was having smoke-induced asthma and things like that. So, it's really a big impact that these fires make, and even things that you don't really think of, the residual pieces of that. So our workforce board definitely saw that as a need and wanted to get involved. Workforce boards in general, we look at serving those who are unemployed or underemployed, and those who have barriers to work. So we kept the same model when we created the Greater Sierra Forestry Corps. We make sure that we include no tuition, so everything is paid through by one of our grants. We also take care of all of the students' supplies that they need. And we provide wrap services, so students can get reimbursed for mileage. We can assist them with childcare costs, and then we also offer a hourly stipend based on their family size if they need funding to be able to attend the training itself. Like I mentioned before, we were born in Fresno in 2020. Since then, we have been able to expand the Corps, bringing in more partners with some of the newer grants that we got. We've established a campus in Sonora at the Columbia College in partnership with Motherlode Job Training. We've also established a campus in Mariposa at the Yosemite Adult School, and that's in partnership with our Madera Workforce Board. So wherever we build a campus, we try to bring education, business, and workforce development to the table in each area. And then we're excited because in 2025, we'll be piloting a program in Tulare County with College of Sequoias. And then we'll also be piloting one in Bakersfield with the Kern Community College District. So that is just kind of a big, 50,000 foot snapshot of the Greater Sierra Forestry Corps. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jerry to introduce himself and kind of talk about what training the Corps provides its students.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jerry Irvin. I am super excited to be here, like Ashley said. I work for the Fresno Regional Workforce Development Board. I am the Regional Outreach Coordinator. I used to be the project coordinator, overseeing the day-to-day. As the program has grown, so has my title, which is a great thing. Workforce is working. But a little bit about the trainer program. We do provide wildland fire training, all of the NWCG certifications. You can see some listed here on the board. Some that's not listed on the board. Certificates that we do train for us now is heavy equipment training. We do skid steer, dozer, water truck, and we also do some chipper training right now. Our Mariposa cohort has recently done, as of 2 weeks ago, have done prescribed fire, which is a area that I'm super excited that we are branching into right now. We also do the FEMA certifications that are up there, and we are also looking to include flood disaster relief, which is a FEMA certification that we're looking to probably start in 2025. We have 3 phases to the program, which is Introduction to Forestry, which is 4 weeks long. That one is when everyone comes to introduction level to the program, we like to get them gym memberships is something that we do for the whole cohort. All of their PPE, boots, hats, gloves, everything is supported by us. So phase 1, the first 4 weeks is getting them conditioned. The second phase is like I call it meat potatoes, is where they get all of their certifications. And then phase 3 is an 8-week paid training where we're actually out in the field and we're pairing participants up with employers to get hands-on experience. And then if everything goes well, the employers would, in hopes that they would keep those participants on. I've had great success with a lot of the private sector employers. They kind of love the certifications that someone's walking through their doors already certified, and with all the safety certifications, we also offer, I would say, areas that I would probably say that I would need help in is with just more employers. We are training highly skilled individuals, and I would love to be able to say, instead of an 80% placement rate, about 100%. So yeah, I think that about covers everything.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ashley and Jerry. One of the things I love about this project is learning about new programs, especially that hadn't either hadn't heard about before or didn't know as much about it. But it's really great to have you here and learn more about what you're doing. Next, we're going to go to Courtney Cagle. Courtney's with the Foundation for California Community Colleges. Justin Britton introduced us to their program and the work that they're doing. And really great to have you here, Courtney, and I'll hand it over to you.
Great, thank you. Thanks for having me, and wow, very inspiring to hear all of the presenters today and to learn more about these similar efforts that are happening in the state. I was telling a new staff member this morning, talking about the project, that it feels really good to work on an effort that has so much momentum behind it, and a non-political issue that's just so relevant and needed for our state. So I'm the manager of the California Resilient Careers in Forestry program. And what that is a short-term project, in a way, that was launched when we received a grant through the Economic Development Administration in September of 2022, part of their Good Jobs Challenge funding. So the EDA, Economic Development Administration, is really focused on just getting people into high quality jobs. For us, we're really focused on the forest sector in California and getting people into those high quality jobs. In California, there are quite a few community colleges who have existing training programs for things that span the forest sector. So some traditional forestry programs for sure, but then also other parts of the supply chain and sector that are relevant as well. Like we just heard talk about, heavy equipment operations, vegetation management, that's really important, wildland firefighting. So the programs that are part of our effort are, across all of those areas of the forest sector. And so what this grant funding is doing is, one, helping existing programs scale up what they're doing by being able to train more people in a shorter amount of time, and make sure that that quality is really high quality and aligned with employer needs, particularly within the smaller region that the college sits in for those employers. The other thing that the project is doing is it's able to address one of the key challenges that we've heard about, and what we found in this area, particularly among young people, is about awareness of the careers that exist in the forest sector. So we're able to use this funding to be able to have digital resources and digital ad campaigns to drive awareness, and then get people to understand more about these careers and connect to a training program that's the right fit for them. I'll pop it in the chat here in a minute. But we launched a website back in March called forestrypathways.org in response to this need that we heard of. There just isn't one place where somebody could go to look and see what are the higher education programs in the forest sector in California. Even through lots of Google searching, it was really hard to get a complete picture. So we launched this website really with the main intention of helping people find the right training program for them. We're kind of in the 1.0 version right now, but getting ready to launch the 2.0 version that will have better filters for the search on the program, so people can look at like a mile radius. They can search by the type of career that the program is associated with, whether or not the program has on-campus housing available, those sorts of things. And I think some of the other challenges as we've been operating this project for 2 years now that we've found is, when it comes to transitioning someone from successfully completing a training program and getting them into employment, it can be hard really about like where people live and where the jobs are, particularly for people that are established in their community and have families and own a home. If they're kind of using this as a transition to a new career, a lot of times that particularly jobs in the Forest Service, we've found it's really hard to get a job in the Forest Service where you already live necessarily, even if there's a job open there. Because of the system through USA Jobs and getting those, it can be challenging. So that's one issue that we found. The other one is particularly for people who are not already living in communities where the jobs are. Housing is a big issue, both on where the jobs are and getting people space there, but even sometimes where the training programs are, if they're not already living in that community where there's an existing training program. That's why supports that we just heard about, right, that are so crucial to helping people to be able to be successful in these programs. We're lucky that this funding from the EDA is able to provide for those types of supports for these students as well. So prepaid gas cards, in some cases, help with repairing their car if it breaks down. We're able to provide for the fire programs those really expensive boots that people need, that can definitely derail a community college student from continuing their education in the space. So I think that's probably the gist of the challenges that we've seen. But I think on the successes side, in addition to the ad campaign, some of the things that we've seen that have been really successful in that transition of what it looks like to build a training program that successfully prepares someone for employment. A few key things that we found have been this cohort design of a training program, and making sure that a small group of people, maybe 20 or less, are all together and being able to go on that journey together, has seen a lot of success in getting people then into jobs. And then also making sure that the instructors are either currently or recently in the industry in those jobs, so that they can provide that real experience and prepare people and their expectations. And help them do that application process, and spending time in the classroom or the training environment or whatever it is, helping people do those job applications. And depending on the type of program that it is, It can be really great to arrange for the employers in that space to come and observe the training program, particularly like a skills showcase concept. That's something that has worked really well for the programs around heavy equipment operations, as well as like vegetation management that are very much skills-based and operating equipment. And it could be great for employers to see that. And especially in those environments, we know that employers are making job offers to students on the spot because it happens towards the end of their training program. And I think the other thing that we've seen that's been really useful is being able to provide credentials that are industry recognized at different points along a continuum of a training. So not just that everybody gets 1 or 2 credentials at the end of this longer training, but that it's designed so that they're getting those stackable certificates and credentials along the way, so that if they have to exit out at any one point, they have something that they're walking away with and they can likely get some type of job, even if it's not the same caliber or level of job that they would be able to get if they completed the full training program. So I think I'll stop there. I think about my 5 minutes is up.
Thanks so much, Courtney. Really great lessons and challenges. Thanks for describing and summarizing those so cogently. Really appreciate it. So last but not least, I'm gonna hand it over to Taylor Parker at the Sierra Nevada Alliance, and he's going to talk about the training program that they've been running, developing new forestry professionals in the field. Taylor, I'll hand it over to you.
Hey, thank you. And I'll double up on what Courtney said. It's been really wonderful being able to learn from everybody on this panel. Workforce stuff is kind of new to me. And so realizing some of the things that I'm dealing with aren't novel just to me has been really helpful. So I'm really, really glad for this discussion. Yeah, as Vance mentioned, I'm with Sierra Nevada Alliance. Sierra Nevada Alliance is a nonprofit based out of Tahoe, but it is an alliance of groups, agencies, nonprofits, resource conservation districts, whomever, that are within the Sierra Nevada. So we have a very large space that we work within. It started about, I think, 30 years ago this year. So the nonprofit has been around working very diligently on all the issues, environmental and otherwise, that face the Sierra Nevada. Since the beginning, they've had a program, an AmeriCorps program, working with AmeriCorps and being, the hub for AmeriCorps and setting up those host sites and doing all of that kind of work. What was realized by my executive director, Jenny Hatch, and a couple other folks in 2018, 2019, something like that, was that AmeriCorps and so many other workforce development programs are fantastic for entry-level folks, but there's a major gap to get people from seasonal work, from getting those certs, from getting this really necessary boots on the ground. Apologize for the background noise. I had to take this outside. There's a major gap from taking it from that level to the really critical step of forest health project managers, is what I call it. But people that have these skills, that know what forests are, that know what fire is, and are trying to look for career advancement, or really trying to help these forests, but then don't know how to manage a budget, don't know how to manage staff, don't know how to manage how to write a grant, don't know how to put their time and energy to these larger projects and these larger needs. And then on the flip side, these agencies that are managing these forests, or private landowners, or nonprofits, or whomever, are trying to hire folks, and they're recognizing, hey, we have a lot of people applying for these jobs that can do the seasonal firework, that can really work on these projects on the ground, but they don't have that ability to step over and make that transition. So what they created in, I think, 2019 was the Sierra Corps Forestry Fellowship Program. I always get it wrong, so I have to go slow when I say it. So the Sierra Corps is built off of the AmeriCorps. It's same idea. And so what that is we develop relationships with what we call host sites, and we try to develop positions that are going to help those host sites accomplish their forest health needs. And so it is early career. Usually the people that I hire are in their mid-20s. Usually the people that I hire have a bachelor's degree and at least 2 years of work experience on some of these forest health projects. Those aren't required. I've hired folks that don't have bachelor's degrees. I've hired folks that are in their 40s. I've hired, all kinds of different folks if it meets the project specifications. But that's generally what we're looking for. And then with that, so I took over this job a couple years ago. I was working in Belize on some anti-deforestation projects. Talked to some folks and they said, hey, you're pretty boring. You know how to manage a budget pretty well. Can you help us manage our program and grow it a little bit? So in the last couple of years, we've been really fortunate to be able to grow it. So we teamed up with Justin Britton and we got a grant from the Wood Products through CAL FIRE to help us grow our program. And so I think we're coming into our final year of our grant with CAL FIRE. And this year we have our largest cohort right now. So I have about 15 staff working with us in this forestry fellowship program. And we hire folks for 6 or 11-month terms, depending on the site, how it works. And they get good pay and they work at those host sites. So I've got everyone pretty much throughout the entire Sierra Nevada range. And they're working on their projects and they get full benefits and medical, just like all Sierra Nevada Alliance employees, pretty good PTO. And about 85% of their time is focused on the host site's needs and whatever that's required. So sometimes it's field work, sometimes it's, office work, writing grants, it just depends on what the host site needs. And we set that all up beforehand. But then the remaining 15% of the time is where I actually work. And I manage what we call our professional development training. And so I have a curriculum, in essence, that is set up over a year. And we really walk people through what it takes to manage a budget, what it takes to write proposals, what kinds of HR issues are you going to have, how do you manage staff, those kinds of things. And so we walk people through that program. And by the time they go through our program, they have a much broader understanding of what it takes to manage forest health projects beyond just the doing the field work that is so necessary and a really important component that they have to have as they grow into project managers. So I think I'm at time. I'm really happy to answer more questions as we go, and I really want to learn from you all. I've learned so much already, so really appreciate it.
Thanks, Taylor. Again, really amazing program you're working on. And I like the connection you made between the folks, or kind of that need for getting folks to project management level. That's definitely a huge need out there. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and open it up to questions for folks. If anybody wants to jump in and ask any of the panelists a question, go right ahead. Don't go all at once. And panelists,
Well, Vince, I don't
we
have
ask
a
questions of each other too.
Well, Vince, I don't have a question, but I definitely want to say thank you for allowing us to come and present about our program and to learn as much from everyone else's program. I do have everyone's contact from the chat, and I will be reaching out as needed for additional assistance and guidance if needed. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
I'm just wondering how the matchmaking is going. I mean, I've heard several people have referred to that. I'm sure that's just a big challenge, is getting the grads. I mean, it's funny, I hear from businesses, oh, we can't find workers. And then I'm hearing from workforce programs, oh, we can't find businesses. So I'm sure the geography is really tricky. So there's crews that are being trained as well as employees. So is that really like a big bottleneck, and how are people, maybe the Forest Business Alliance can help with that somehow. The matchmaking seems so critical. And I'm just wondering about folks' experience with that. But maybe you have a pretty good, off ramp for your grads, or maybe you don't. I'm just really curious about that part.
I'll jump in just because we work really hard to find the right candidate for our program. So when we do recruitment for our program, we go through a lot of interviews. We talk to talk to all the references for the applicants that are coming through our program. We make sure it's a really good fit with our host site, because it just costs so much time and money to deal with HR issues. If somebody has to leave early, or if they quit, or if there's frustrations. And we want to make sure that the people that we bring on are going to get the most out of our program, and people that we find are going to be worth investing. Now, with that said, on the flip side, once they go through our program and they come out, we work, my team and myself, my project manager and myself, we work our asses off to find really good jobs for the people that come through our program. And it's hard. I will say we one of the metrics that I'm most proud of is every single person that's come through my program, except for 2, which had their own personal issues. Again, me not taking the blame on this. Everyone that's gone through our program has been offered a full-time position with their host site. And that's something that I'm incredibly proud of, and a huge metric for me to see if our program is working. It doesn't mean that everyone's taken that job, but it does mean that they've offered that position. So it ends up being a way for our host sites to, in essence, really vet the new people that they want to hire. But it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work talking to folks. It's a lot of negotiations. It's a lot of informal, just figuring out little issues here and there, personality issues. So that's the main way that we've approached it, if that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks. That was really helpful.
Any other questions, comments, reactions?
Vance, I'll jump in with a question, it's kind of a question. Would any of the presenters like to speak on whether they have partnered with a for-profit business, how that interplay works, or if not themselves, interesting examples that they've witnessed or heard about? Kind of like a brainstorm on what the business to nonprofit partnerships in this workforce development can look like.
I can definitely speak to that, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we have a partnership with ASI. It's a contract crew out of Oregon. And so when they get a call for a type 2 crew, while I'm in my career training program, we can be able to get deployed out with them through their company. So what we do is pretty much all my staff pretty much take either PTO, or they don't, they just don't collect a paycheck during that time, because they get paid way more around that time to go out on the fire. So they pretty much hire the whole 20-person crew, and then they go out, and trainees make about $5K within those 2 weeks or so, 5 to 6K. Staff make about like 8 or 12, depending on their qualifications. We've got an MOU, so we just have an agreement where they take on the responsibility for workers' comp. They pay the guys. During that time, though, our participants suspend their stipend because they making more money, so we can be able to still save that money to be able to give that to have that in a piggy bank in the future. And it's pretty much sweet, and then also being able to have opportunities for employment in the future, being able to, vet the guys out or just do performance evaluations, doing a 2 or 225s. And that's where I think moving forward is like trying to even, you know, build that relationship where we could see they can host a location out here in San Bernardino. But I have a lot of ties with like the BDF, San Bernardino National Forest, and I'm heavily that's where I started my career at. So I know that public-private partnership piece is definitely a way to, that I kind of been working in. Also, I had a partnership with Pioneer Fire Department, where I think, what was it? What fire was that? Dang, where the fire that was that? So it was like a local government fire department. We did some cross training, and then we also did kind of a similar thing where we went on the fire, but the chief had passed away, so that relationship kind of dissolved once he, passed away. So it's been a couple of things I've been in, but for the most part, for the for-profit, it was real, simple. It's perfect, because they have a need, they getting the money, they're making money when they're out there in the crew. We're providing the participants the opportunity to go on the fire, and yeah. So any questions on that, I can definitely take, but that's pretty much what our relationship with ASI.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Royal.
So Taylor asked a question in the chat, referring to Courtney's, that bringing up the issue of finding people housing, and he asked if there are any helpful tips or tricks or things folks have learned to help with housing. I guess, and Courtney brought up the interesting point, not just with employment, but during training as well, or education.
One interesting thing we were able to do with Columbia College is actually during training, the students were housed in their dormitories. So we were able to use supportive service funding to pay for them to stay there for the semester. So they were on campus, they were actually doing their work experience on the campus grounds as well. So it was really like kind of a one-stop shop for them, and that's been very successful.
Yeah, I could add to that. Partner up with other community-based organizations that provide housing for folks is definitely a key thing. We talked to the Amity Foundation. They pretty much statewide. They've really been in the criminal justice reform piece, and they have a lot of places where they can be able to house folks. Also ARC, the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, have partners with them as far as they're kind of like building up their housing component. And then through our alumni network, we have folks that work for the Forest Service throughout the Region 5. We have folks that work for Cal Fire, throughout the state. And even being able to bunk with certain people, right? Like, okay, like it's an extra room here, or I got a house here. Being able to like utilize that network, so folks can be able to get like that type of housing. Just to note, like housing and transportation is something that's a challenge for our folks as well. And what we try to do is like kind of prepare people before we Taylor was saying around like vetting people, right? Like knowing who you have, like really pushing the expectations of like, look, you need to have reliable transportation, and you got to be able to, we can help you with the housing in some sense, but like you got to be ready for that piece as well. Because like when you talk to Bureau of Land Management, you talk to, you know, National Park Services, they have a lot of openings because a lot of people don't they like kind of focus more towards the Forest Service, but like those are the opportunities that we can have, but it's just, you know, do you have those two pieces? And that's where having conversations with those federal agencies around what type of housing pieces do they or housing placement do they have? And usually some of them do have that, but and they try to like focus on giving people opportunity and for the or make priority for the seasonals. And that's where the conversation I've been having with even the Forest Service around like, can we, you know, what's the, you know, pieces around housing, and then bringing and talking to other community-based organizations like, hey, are you willing to be able to, you know, get an Airbnb house or whatever around this area to make it a little bit more smoother for some of our trainees. So I think collaboration and partnership is key. I think that especially in this workforce development piece where I feel like, you know, not saying anybody, you know, here, but what I've experienced is like, you know, we're here to serve the people, right? Like the purpose of life to me is to serve. So I don't care about where you at in the location, like whatever I can be able to, you know, it's all about the participant or the trainee, like getting them to the place they need to be. So like I see that, you know, the Greater Sierra, like Forestry Corps, like that's dope. Like I never heard of y'all, which I'm excited to maybe have that conversation with you because I know I have like so many different you know, participants that come from all over the state and want to be a part of the program, but it's like, all right, I don't have a location in Fresno or, you know, in Central California. So I'm really excited to give you a list of some folks that I know that y'all can be able to help out. And then even with like the partnership with Cal Fire, like, you know, I worked for Cal Fire as well. So I know what you need in order for you to be able to get employment with them. So and trying to figure out a way to maybe, you know, co-enroll people. I think that's something that that I'm starting to see that it could be an opportunity to, you know, obviously you provide services, I provide services, and we can partner up and like really like make this thing together. So like I don't look at folks as competition, but like really just being able to partner up because I see it all the time. Like I'm telling you, like it's crazy, but I'm here to just, you know, do the right thing and serve the folks. But housing, I'm sorry, transportation is definitely can be a challenge. But I think just locally talking to, you know, other community-based organizations or people that specialize that is very important. And if you need that contact information, I can definitely give that to you. So my bad, I'm off my soapbox. I will stop.
Well, thanks, Royal. We probably have time for one final question before we wrap up. We're actually only supposed to go to quarter after, which is right now, but any other questions, comments?
No, I definitely like to say, Roy, I'll be reaching out. I'm sure we'll do something. Kind of come from similar backgrounds. So yeah, we'll definitely make something happen.
Glad we could connect you guys. Well, thanks again, everybody, for the panelists, especially really appreciate you taking your time today and really amazing stories and work that you're doing. Keep up the great work and doing that, and we'll hopefully see you out in the field and also training up new people as well. That's awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
Have a great day, everybody.